morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a very beautiful Monday morning, the beginning of a new week, the beginning of a new month, the beginning of the last month in the year 2025. How fast the year has gone. Today is the first day of December 2025. It's a beautiful day. To God be all the glory. It's great to be in a new month. I hope that you're beginning it beautifully. I hope you're beginning it with all of the energy you can muster. I hope you're beginning it with all of the joy that you can bring up out of you. I hope your weekend was great. I had a good weekend. I was able to witness a quiz competition organized by the youth ministry of my church, the Church of Pentecost. It was beautiful to see young people go through their Bibles, and so that's how I spent my weekend. After that, I also got the opportunity to go to church on Sunday and worship. It was a great period for the weekend, spending time with friends, family, and loved ones. I hope you also had a great weekend. You were able to take some time off to reconnect with your friends, with your loved ones. You were able to take some time off to also relax. I hope you had a great weekend. It's a bright new week, it's a bright new month, and we can only hope and pray for the best of it. As we hope and pray for the best of it, what do? We work towards our goals, we work towards our dreams. The fact that we are in the last month does not mean that all of your projections are moot now, because if I was not able to achieve them for the past 11 months, what more will 1 month do? There's so much that can happen within a minute. How much more a whole month, a month that has 31 days. And so I will tell you what I tell you every day. Continue to hope, continue to have faith, and work hard. Let us work hard so that we achieve all of our goals. The few steps, the one step at a time, putting one foot ahead of the other, will culminate into going a whole mile. And so please do not give up. Today on ABC in the morning, we have so much for you. So glad you have joined us today. You will enjoy the show that we have for you on ABC in the morning. On our front story, we'll look at Parliament. We'll go to Parliament and appreciate some things that are happening in Parliament. You would recollect that Speaker referred the Minority Leader, Alexander Penyumakin, to the Privileges Committee concerning concerns that were raised about his appearance at the ECOWAS Parliament. Well, the minority are demanding for an apology from the Speaker. And so we'll go to Parliament and have some conversations there. We'll bring you Community Watch, where again we continue to throw the spotlight on communities, the issues within the community. Why are we throwing spotlight on communities? It is to bring to the attention of duty bearers the concerns within these communities so that they can be solved for the constituents, the people within the community. We'll also bring you our main discussion where we'll have so many conversations. But today on our main discussion, we are focusing on the educational sector. A few days ago, WAEC, the West African Examination Council, released the results for the 2025 WASSCE. What should have been a happy period has turned into a very disappointing one, because nearly one out of 4 students failed a core subject, either math or social studies. Very disappointing. You know that for the core subjects, they are core, they are important, and so you need to pass your core subject to be able to make it into the university, because anything D7 and below will stall your progress. Unfortunately, the numbers that we are looking at, we're receiving, we're reading quite high. Many of the students have failed their core subjects. Not only that, over 600 students' entire results have been cancelled, and so their 3 years of education culminated into nothing. Very disappointing, and so they would have to rewrite the examination. Others' results have been withheld. Investigations are still being conducted. And so for today, we'll turn our attention onto the education sector. This result has created a lot of buzz on social media. I'm reading political angles into the conversation, various angles. People are coming from various angles and reading meanings into the results that have been released. We'll also bring you the latest in the world of sports, and you don't want to miss out on that. It's been a busy weekend, and the sports team is on hand to bring us everything that we missed out, or to bring us up to speed. We'll also open the phone line so that we can hear from you, because it's only your voice that matters, and your voice alone we want to hear. And when it's time, you call us on 053-916-1609, 053-916-1609. And finally, we'll bring you happy hour, where we give you the opportunity to send your best wishes to your friends and loved ones. How do you get to do that? Send us a DM. Get in touch with us via socials at ABC News GH_. Send us a message, the picture of the person, the name of the celebrant, and we'll be so glad to celebrate them on your behalf. You're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. The pages are ABC News GH. If you've not subscribed to our pages or liked, kindly do so, and let's have some interactions there. Again, I am ABENA MANTE. I'm so glad, I'm so grateful that this morning you have joined us for ABC in the morning. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you our front story. Stay with us.
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah. Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Gino Jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana Jollof.
Jollof Soko. Tasty nie.
What is going on here?
Enjoy Jollof the Ghana way. Gino Jollof is made with a perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
Well, thank you for staying with us. You're welcome back to ABC in the morning. We'll take you to Parliament today on our front story. A few weeks ago, the majority leader, Mahama Yarga, took to his feet on the floor of Parliament, and he made some comments regarding the appearance of the minority leader, Alexander Apenyu-Marking, at the ECOWAS Parliament. He said that Alexander Apenyu-Marking is not part of the delegation that should be at the ECOWAS Parliament. However, he was seen there. This is a breach of conduct in Parliament, and so he cited him for contempt. He prayed the Speaker to hold the minority leader for contempt. Well, the Speaker commented on this issue a few days ago on Thursday in Parliament, and on commenting on the issue, he ruled on it. He referred the minority leader, beg your pardon, Alexander Apenyu-Marking, to the Privileges Committee, citing him for contempt. Let me take you to Parliament, where you listen to the Speaker. We'll come back and then listen to some more after the Speaker made this determination.
Honourable members, having reviewed the complaint, the standing orders, and the governing principles, I am satisfied that the matter raised prima facie implicates the dignity and institutional integrity of this House. Pursuant to Order 34.1, I therefore refer the matter, the complaint lodged by the Honourable Member for Boku Central and a Majority Leader to the Committee on Privileges and Immunities for examination, inquiry, investigation, and report to the House. The committee is directed to 1. Ascertain the relevant facts giving rise to the complaint, including the actions taken by the House and by the Honourable Member concerned.
And so that was the Speaker of Parliament a few days ago. Following the Speaker's ruling and referring the Minority Leader to the Privileges Committee, the minority also have pushed back. In a press conference, the minority say that the Speaker, ABENA, must apologize to the Minority Leader for referring him to the Privileges Committee. They say that this is political persecution and intimidation. Let's listen to the minority.
In his ruling, waxed eloquent about the dignity and authority of Parliament. But what dignity is there in violating the Constitution? What authority exists in defying international law? What respect can Parliament command when it degrades itself into an instrument of political vendetta? The Minority Leader did not bring Parliament into disrepute. The Speaker and the Majority Leader did, by crafting an unconstitutional resolution, by ignoring written objections, by committing diplomatic disgrace, by embarrassing Ghana before ECOWAS. They have desecrated the very institution they claim to defend. And now, they seek to punish the one man who had the courage, the constitutional fidelity, and the moral clarity to stand firm in defense of the rule of law. We in the minority, we are here and we demand the following. 1, the immediate withdrawal of the Privileges Committee's petition. It is gross abuse of process and an affront to justice. A public apology from the Speaker and Majority Leaders to ECOWAS and to the people of Ghana for the international embarrassment they caused. 3, the passage of a resolution restoring Honorable Afenyo Makin's name to Ghana's ECOWAS delegation and affirming Ghana's commitment to the rule of law under Article 75 of the Constitution. 4, an end to the coordinated persecution of the Minority Leader by the Attorney General's Office, NDC operatives, and party foot soldiers. And finally, 5th, the prosecution of Chief Sofo as.
You are welcome back. That is the Deputy Minority Leader Patricia Appiagyei at the press conference. She says that this is a coordinated attempt to run down the image of the Minority Leader. She says that she has written letters concerning this matter. and they are expecting, or they are demanding, that the Speaker apologize to the minority leader. Well, let's go to Parliament and speak with some parliamentary watchers. They've been paying critical attention to Parliament, and it's imperative we speak with them on this matter. Sami Obeng is the Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Sami Obeng. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Pleasure always.
Well, let's look at what has transpired in Parliament over the past few days. Prior to when Speaker made his determination, cited the minority leader for contempt, and also referred him to the Privileges Committee, the majority leader had raised concerns. He said that Afenyo Markin's name was not part of the delegation and so could not be there. The deputy minority leader also says otherwise, that Afenyo Markin, as third deputy at the ECOWAS Parliament, allows for him to be at the Parliament. Why the discord? Why are we seeing the discord between the two reports from the majority and the minority?
Well, the interesting or good thing about Parliament is that it's a house of records. And so whatever decisions or resolutions get passed by Parliament, the records of the House will reflect it accurately. And that accurate reflection of the records of Parliament is what would hold sway, and not what spins or angles any other individual puts on. This matter is a matter that has lingered on for some time. For the entire year, the Parliament of Ghana delayed in submitting its list of representatives to international parliamentary bodies that the Parliament of Ghana is part of, including the Pan-African Parliament, including the ECOWAS Parliament. And why the delay? The delay was because of this matter, the fact that there seemed not to be an agreement internally on who should represent Parliament on which delegation. And so, fast forward a couple months ago, before the Parliament went on recess, and particularly because the more we delayed as a country, the more we missed out on conversations and decisions that are taken in these international parliamentary bodies, the House passed a resolution. What was the resolution? It set up the list of members of Parliament who represent Ghana at both the Pan-African Parliament and the ECOWAS Parliament. At the side of the ECOWAS Parliament, there was a lot of disagreement on the House, and the Hansard would have captured that, including Honorable Afenyo Markin being taken out of the delegation, including Honorable Patricia Pieje as deputy leader being added to that particular delegation, she requesting that her name be taken out, etc., etc. In the end, the resolution of Parliament by its decision-making processes, the resolution of Parliament by its decision-making processes held sway, and the delegation that list that was submitted by the Parliament of Ghana to the ECOWAS Parliament did not include the Honorable Minority Leader. Of course, he was not happy about it because of all the background information that I have provided, and just as he was not happy about it, his way of showing protest perhaps was to go in there and to present himself before the Parliament. This matter has then been reported as a breach of privileges by his colleague, the majority leader, and subsequently referred to the Privileges Committee by the Speaker. Now, yes, it is true. Yes, it is true that the ECOWAS Parliament has its own arrangements around some of these things. Yes, it is true that the minority leader is a leader in the ECOWAS Parliament. He holds a deputy speakership position within the ECOWAS Parliament. So all of those factors are true, and that is why the opportunity now exists to go to the Privileges Committee and to be able to make a case on why, in his reading of the rules so far as the ECOWAS Parliament is concerned, combined with what he thought were the decisions that were taken by the Parliament of Ghana and his side's disagreement with that decision, etc., etc. To make his case on why he did not act contemptuously or he did not act to bring the reputation of the Parliament of Ghana into disrepute. And I don't think that by referring one to the Privileges Committee, it's automatic that the person then is guilty of an offense. And so for me, this is the background. And like I said from the very beginning, this is a house of records. And it being a house of records means that the records of proceedings, how things unfolded, what happened and all of that will be on the records of Parliament. And Parliament in its Privileged Committee's engagement will deal with what the records say and not what within both the majority and minority are saying to kind of justify their cause.
Well, the Deputy Minority Leader, Patricia Piaget, says that she was sandwiched in a bid to replace the Minority Leader at the ECOWAS Parliament without prior consultation. You would recall that when the communique was released, she also countered it by saying that she was not going to accept the representation on the ECOWAS Parliament, as you mentioned. And so in this case, it seems to suggest that there's a certain collusion to undermine the Minority Leader and also place him in a bad light.
Well, there are two sides of the issue here. One side of the issue is that Parliament, by its practice and conventions, have usually had the deputy leaders of both sides of Parliament being those that represent the Parliament of Ghana at the ECOWAS Parliament. And so Honorable Apenyo Makin went to the ECOWAS Parliament first because he was deputy majority leader at the time. And that was the reason why he represented Ghana at the ECOWAS Parliament. And so you recall that during the time when the delegation was being agreed to, the argument was more about what the conventions has been, etc., etc. However, there is also the convention. On the fact that usually when a caucus nominates someone to represent them on a delegation, on a committee, etc., etc., there is usually not a contention around asking the caucus to change that particular name or person from the delegation. So there are two sides of the coin. Here we have a caucus nominating somebody. The practice of the House usually would give the caucus the benefit of the doubt because they know their members better. And then we also have a practice or a convention where there are specific leaders who represent Ghana at these specific delegations. And so these were the two sides of the coin that needed to be looked at. I think that the Parliament of Ghana, in the very first instance, when they were agreeing to the delegation, could have dealt with this matter a bit better than they did. Yes, you may have a convention which says that specific people must attend specific institutions, but if I am supposed to be attending that, and my caucus thinks that my prowess and the skill set that I bring on board, I am better able to represent at another forum, thereby giving away my right to the forum that I should have ordinarily had the privileges to. I think that Parliament should have accepted that and allowed Apenyo Makin caucus to go by the specific decisions that they thought was useful. However, Parliament did not do that and rather wanted to insist on a convention that states which leaders represent Parliament on which platform. I think that was quite untidy right from the very beginning. Be that as it may, there are many untidy things that happens in Parliament, but in the end, when decisions get taken, there are specific ways in which you use to rescind or request for the rescission of the decisions that have been made by Parliament. And that certainly does not include forcefully going into the ECOWAS Parliament chamber and wanting to have audience there and causing a national embarrassment. So the minority certainly have a case on the processes leading up to this, their objection to it, and what they actually did in objecting to it. However, we shouldn't also have gotten here by having our leader of the minority caucus going to the ECOWAS Parliament and causing a situation which makes believe that the Parliament of Ghana really was not united on the issue about who represents us in a particular delegation. So that's the the conflicting situation we find ourselves in at the moment.
Because you'd realize that the deputy minority leader, she bemoaned the fact that she had written multiple letters to the speaker raising issues about a unilateral decision that was taken and how she was not in support of this. We also appreciate the angle you come from when you say that the minority leader having taken a decision also by himself and presenting himself at the ECOWAS parliament, and so as a country or as a parliament we did not have a united front there. It's been 11 months on, and we keep seeing these differences when it comes to certain issues within Parliament. Does this not present a certain framework where there are cracks within our parliamentary leadership when it comes to matters like this? Because this is an issue of leadership. If majority leader says something, deputy minority leader says that, you know what, you're putting me on a committee that I do not want to be a part of. Shouldn't leadership have been able to deal with this matter for us not to have gotten to a point such as this where now a leader in parliament has to face the privileges committee?
Well, this is certainly a leadership problem, and you've diagnosed it right. And it's an avoidable leadership problem, because we know that at the level of parliament, despite all the disagreements, etc., there are certain courtesies that as leaders they accord to each other, and that's why you know that it may not be written anywhere in the rule books. However, when a leader or even a former leader of parliament appears before the vetting committee to be vetted to become a minister, etc., the extent to which that particular individual is taken through the drill is very different from anyone who has not been a leader before. We've seen several examples, of states. So there are certain courtesies that they accord to each other at the level of leadership. So yes, this is a leadership problem. Yes, it goes to show that at the level of leadership, there seems to be cracks, and there's been many examples of things that have happened in this last 10 or so months in the Parliament of Ghana that goes to suggest things, and these could have been avoided. I think that with more than 3/4 of the tenure of the current Parliament still ahead of them, they need to be closing ranks on some of these matters for us to see leaders in Parliament who are showing true leadership, in leading their caucuses, but also in working together towards the common good, towards the advancement of Parliament. We don't expect that in Parliament they will always agree. It has never been so in the past. But we expect that even in their disagreement, it will be done with grace and decorum and respect for each other and both sides of the aisle.
Now that you talk about respect for each other, I want us to just switch a little bit to the Pandai seat, which Speaker said he was not going to make a determination on until today. Ahead of Speaker speaking on this matter, the Majority Chief Whip, Roxanne Nelson Dafia-Metpo, had requested that or argued that the Pandai seat be declared vacant. We spoke with Matthew Nyindam on this network where he mentioned that the Chief Whip had met him personally and told him they were coming for his seat, and based on certain reactions within Parliament, he felt that this was a clear targeting of his seats and him in extension, or by extension of him as the MP for the area. Mutual respect for each other within Parliament and the way both sides conduct themselves. Are we seeing a situation where personalities are being targeted?
Well, I'm not too sure I can speak to personality targets or to private conversations that take place between individual members of Parliament. What is out there in the public domain is that there's been an election petition which challenged an election of a member of Parliament as per the rules as per the dictates of our Constitution. This was done even before the current Parliament was constituted. Apart from that, this was also a situation that preceded even the member of parliament interference for becoming leader or the Pandai MP being sworn into office. So matters around, personal targeting, etc., etc. These are matters really that, what to be challenged, at the very beginning. And so I don't really want to put the issues around personal targets and what have you. I think that the most important thing is that the High Court has made a determination on the matter. And of course, the High Court certainly cannot be the last voice on the matter as per our Constitution. So the Constitution provides room for people who are aggrieved by these High Court decisions to be able to challenge that. And I think the Pandai MP has given indications that he's going to do that, actually initiated steps towards doing that. The Speaker, holding fidelity to the Constitution of Ghana, has also made determinations or Speaker's rulings on the floor of Parliament around what needs to be done and how the Member of Parliament needs to be treated as the case fully unfolds. And I think that the Speaker was right in that particular determination. And for me, I think we should leave it at the level of elections once held, once somebody is aggrieved with it, gets the opportunity to be able to challenge it in court. And if the court determines it in whichever way, there is still room for the other party who did not prevail in the case to also challenge it. And that particular individual has the opportunity to be successful in that subsequent challenge. And so let's allow the judicial processes to take its course. This is not the very first time that we've had constituency elections for parliamentary seats challenged in this manner. And we've had a decision that has been taken, which eventually, went higher up, and then further decisions and consequential, orders having been made. It has all helped to develop and advance our democracy as we practice here in Ghana. And I think in this particular instance case, we should allow the courts to play their role and play it effectively.
Seeing that the Speaker said he was going to wait for the mandatory 7 days to expire before making a determination, today is the day the mandatory 7 days expires. And what are your expectations of Speaker when Parliament sits tomorrow?
Well, it's important that we put the Speaker's ruling in context. The Constitution or our rule books with regards to, how cases get dealt with in the High Court, the Appeal Court, etc., talks about the fact that when there is a decision that has been taken by the court, there is an automatic stay for a 7-day period. And of course, the wisdom with that is to allow the people who have been affected by the matter to take remedial action to be able to exert their rights, And so the Speaker simply says that, yes, the decision has been taken, but somewhere in our books, it says that you cannot kick the person out until after 7 days has expired. And even during these 7 days, it is a provision to be able to give the person the opportunity to further request for extension, even as he seeks to assert his rights. And so, Speaker was only allowing for the automatic, period to play out. If by the time that the House assesses the situation today, sees that there is clear indication that the matter has been further contested by the Pandai MP, and the court is minded to, provide its determination on the matter at a particular date for which the court has actually asked the hand of the earlier judgment. The appeals court has asked the hand of the earlier judgment to be stayed. The Speaker and Parliament has every right to provide subsequent, directives on the subject matter, which will include that the matter be put on ice until such a time when the appeals court determines, the issue conclusively. And that's my expectation, really, even as Parliament comes back.
Well, finally, Sammy, it's been 11 months since this House has been sitting, this Parliament has been sitting, juxtaposing it against the 8th Parliament. How do you see it?
It's different. And the differences that play out with every Parliament has a way of also affecting the yardstick with which those parliaments can be assessed. As somebody who works in Parliamentary Network Africa, an organization that does pure parliamentary monitoring and understands the nuances of differences in parliamentary compositions, we do not go ahead of ourselves to make definite comparisons and judgments of one parliament against the other if we have not done the background of using comparable parameters to be able to show whether one parliament is doing better or the other. So, for example, by same time in 2021, what was happening with the previous parliament? Were they passing more laws? Were they having more consensus? Were recalled that at the same time in 2021, we had a previous parliament. It still had its own tension because people had just been put together. They were a crop of individuals who found themselves in a hung parliament situation. There was a lot of disagreement. We even saw how the budget situation in that particular year got dealt with, etc., etc. So by same time, in the first year of the previous parliament, as against this one, we're seeing a similar trend of parliaments who, in their first year, because there's a different composition, the dynamics are different, are usually finding their feet. And so there is a lot of storming, as you can find in any group dynamics situation. But when the storms get to settle, just see parliament finding their feet. And that's the same situation I see with this current parliament. And I think as the months unfold, as the weeks unfold, we'll be able to have better assessment of this current parliament as compared with previous ones, using clear benchmarks such as the extent to which they have performed their lawmaking functions, the extent to which they have performed their oversight functions effectively, and the extent to which they have represented the people of Ghana who have given them the mandate to represent them.
All right. Samuel, we're grateful for your time this morning, sir. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Enjoy yours too.
Samuel Banks, the Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa. We've looked at all that has transpired within Parliament. We'll be looking forward to seeing what the Privileges Committee determines after its meeting with the Minority Leader, who has been referred because of contempt of Parliament, as the Speaker has cited him. But the minority are demanding an apology from the Speaker. The Deputy Minority Leader raises a lot of concerns. She says that there was a unilateral decision to replace the Minority Leader with her at the ECOWAS Parliament, and she had written that she did not want to be there. We'll see how far this matter goes. But today is also day 7 for the stay of execution. Tamale High Court annulled the 2024 parliamentary elections within the Pandai constituency. Would also be keeping an eye out to see what Speaker Alban Badman decides beyond today. But that's our forefront story this morning. We'll take a break. When we return, we will bring you Community Watch, where we take a look at our communities, the matters within our communities, the issues that duty bearers should be taking notice of, paying attention to, and solving the issues for the constituents within the communities. And so after this break, it is Community Watch. Stay with us.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what will be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted groundnuts. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Magic pepper and onion, a delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yenina da da da. So pa mediane no abin. Come on, Gino, do your magic. And papa no kunu abefi.
Tasty magic.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come see you. Hey, where this guy? My friend,
it's the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telecel Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telecel Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno ba no mpe baby amobeda. Oh, na abeka. Ye did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Welcome back. It's time for Community Watch, where we throw the spotlight on Dakoman. The residents are complaining, they are bemoaning the poor road network. Not only are their roads poor, their street lights are also not working. And so how are they supposed to use the roads? This is an issue. When the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Akwele-Okulu, was sworn in, one of the things that made the headlines was that she said she would light up Accra, make sure all of our street lights are working. Samanton, are street lights working? I can't say many of them are. When I'm coming to work at dawn, the roads are dark. Many of the roads are dark because there are no street lights. Today, on my way to work, because of the dark nature of the roads, we had to really thread cautiously. And even in threading cautiously, we nearly ran into a car because the roads were dark and we couldn't see the roads. And this is not my lived experience alone. I know that you too have experiences with regards to our road network in the country. The roads are bad, street lights are not working, and for many places, traffic lights are also not working. Dakoman residents are dealing with these matters. Poor road network, street lights not working, and some traffic lights also not working. Well, let's go to Dakoman and see what is happening there.
On today's episode of Community Watch, we throw our spotlight here at the Kaneshie Odoko Highway, where commuters and motorists are complaining bitterly about the deplorable state of roads and faulty street lights in this area. They are complaining that not just is their vehicles being affected, but also there are lots of lives that are usually occurred here on this stretch.
The Kaneshie Odoko Highway remains one of Accra's busiest corridors. Yet for years, the outer lane has become a nightmare for commuters. Deep potholes, eroded road edges, and faulty street lights have turned the stretch into a daily safety hazard, where some vehicles even get stuck trying to navigate the damaged lane.
Since I'm so important, so I'm a boy, oh, no, who's in America. I blame it here, road wet. So, Nina, a car, a boying, because what Kotaka said, won't do the age map, one day, last show, no, who know, nam shop. Well, Nina, Brownie, a better form of economy, no, because she can't make you soon. I know my son be the Midi Sarcos no workshop. I blame them, Quanti, Yabe Yakeke. Oh, fine, so police was a man foul. So, because Obiano Pekon phone, no one nantiso. Say a good counsel that I say a shiny chassis, but your moose that I need the access of one with the young goose. Then the Ayagusuno, one number to yasin, the young goose. Oh, bomb no way, my show. Why would the can of the number to be sure when no way, my show?
Well, Yanni Negbano, Cocompegano, Bayin Qua, as an eye we have a quani, a fiao. Well, so score no fear can be fair. If they, oh, my government be an or government, I will be an ameba. Now I can fake bow.
Yakwana Namusuna, ye manhole. A sure aseti owu if you diamond. In fact, a drana would nam quano swa. Whoop. It's yes, a ban or tesuno. Yes, Reno. Only enemy say a cassorti. Ombo de on ye bibi and for my Ewaquano.
Why shall Kaya Ebeo? Shakaya Ebe. A quanin yet. Where will car Nisuka crass sompono, a bet to me, a born bet to me, Emma, a sell car. Anyway, says a one tobo and for car and far day, I say more. Who find inside no codo and a police at you. Et to make it traffic bebre and Robin Naman me front beam ebu ye. Insu Saquani ya, inka bibiatis an ember, until ya sre abain, unfun and Nancy foam. Non boyen. Netime mufunu yansu yamwano.
Thrown into complete darkness due to non-functioning street lights. A worker at a vehicle dealership along the highway recounted an incident where a car on display was stolen under the cover of darkness.
Street light ni na fiti Malam Junction to Kaneshi baako kura nye adwuma. Encheye ena ombewi me boss ne car baako Dansoma Junction. New car omo bewi akromfo na ombewi aye. Ya me adom street cameras no ena ye trace na ye konya car no. And ya besre aban onye street light no me edu anadwo a wonam kwano na enye easy ebitumi cross so da akoma junction enche na car bo bi Dansoma junction enche na car bo bi street light na enye adwuma nti ama okita car wo bre ewo from Malam Junction straight to Kaneshi.
Shane street light no onye street light no onye sisa all the crowd no traffic light ni asese nso obi wo ha oji wiska odi yesre impeyinfo na omudi enim no omunye bibi amanya timemfo no so yanso ya wonton ye
we say mitoka sister million can any 1 week we go accident because of light off me na me katira me say car no poto say car no say ni pa cross me out and traffic or wa nka say me na me gina we say so no su gina nko be gina menya manfaka na anya adwuma 1 week come use say car no na wo sha na me bobra na me me bosan.
Residents and frequent road users attribute the recurring road damage largely to poor drainage. Drains along the route remain chronically choked, causing heavy flooding anytime it rains, especially around the Hansonic Junction, further weakening the road surface. Despite constant complaints dating back as far as 2020, motorists say little has been done by the Urban Roads Department or the Ghana Highway Authority. Temporary patchworks often wash away after the next rainfall, leaving the road in its original deplorable state.
Sensota can't to me come a honey na frodo. Adali say drivers in India and schoolboy be share got him. Drivers no ne save akwala ne life man One can mami will face or go school no point we be.
Okay. Anytime water starts staggering on the road, it will wear us very small or gradually. So it's the water that is causing the whole mess on the road.
Titro, yeah, outer lane, yeah, a record and so on. And then you will be in soon free. In soon to Kakra, a high number Friday, a high number man. In so and tons and a person, yeah, but yet no so car. Who do car go she be so? Oh, we are now the new so much.
Anytime be in soon better now. A boy for main road so. What a new see. And the best and penny for. I am penny for more share so our Miami. The Australian pon kutu sere e pa mo cho se omo ti omuni na mo hwe oda kuma junction na nso ne ha ya adwen pa wa eto a etimi huru lo kwa no nyina na ama lo ko nyina e basa ka se nyina ntimi nko ka timbi sese na ebrebra fie na sese ne o te be sere mpelifo se omo ti omuni na mo hwe oda kuma junction.
Road users are now appealing to government agencies to move beyond inspections and assurances and implement lasting solutions. They want proper drainage, durable resurfacing of the highway, and the restoration of street lights to improve safety for both motorists and pedestrians. For now, commuters on the Kaneshi-Odoko stretch say all they can do is hope. Hope for swift intervention before the situation results in more accidents and possibly the loss of lives.
It's night time. The lights here at the Kaneshi-Odoko highway are off because the street lights are not working. Pedestrians and road users here are not asking much from government. All they are asking for is their street lights to be fixed and the roads as well. They called and we came. If you want us to come into your community, kindly call the number on your screen.
And so that is what's happening in Dakuman. We're looking forward to seeing duty bearers swiftly address this situation. The roads are poor and the lights are off. This is not one that any commuter would be happy to commute on, but it's become the sad reality of the people of Dakuman and across the country, the sad reality for many. This is all for Community Watch this morning on ABC in the morning. It was Jessica Ampim who brought us that report. It is Jessica Ampim who brought us that report from Dakuman. We'll take a break. When we return, we will now delve straight into our main discussion and have some conversations, especially around the education sector and the just released results, WASSCE 2025 results. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Oh, Kwame. You know our secret, right?
Yeah. Efia. Yes, me. I've got it.
Now add your Chino Jollof mix.
The perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time. And there you have it, your original Ghana Jollof.
Jollof so good.
Jollof so good. Tasty, yeah.
What is going on here?
Enjoy jollof the Ghana way. Gino jollof is made with the perfect blend of tomatoes, pepper, and fine herbs and spices to ensure a consistent taste every time.
This advert is FDA approved.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come and see what. We're busy, guy. My friend, see before.
It's the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telestar Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telestar Play app to obtain and start winning in the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno banu mpe baby amubeda. Oh, no abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
On the show, we shall start by interrogating your admits of matters with expert insight from our renowned medical professionals, providing you with actionable advice and cutting-edge knowledge to prevent injuries and optimize performance. Then we'll connect you to the talking points where we'll bring you the big names, the famous faces, and leading voices on our radar in the world of sports for a lively conversation and diverse perspective.
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the talking points. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
On Ghana Focus, we shall spotlight our domestic leagues and heroes of other sporting disciplines.
I'm James Makion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC with Victor and the team as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
That the matter raised prima facie implicates the dignity and institutional integrity of this House. Pursuant to Order 34.1, I therefore refer the matter, the complaint lodged by the Honourable Member for Boku Central and a majority leader to the Committee on Privileges and Immunities for examination, inquiry, investigation, and report to the House. The committee is directed to 1. Ascertain the relevant facts giving rise to the complaint, including the actions taken by the House and by the Honourable Member concerned. Honourable Members, having reviewed the complaint, the standing orders, and the governing principles, I am satisfied that the matter raised prima facie implicates the dignity and institutional integrity of this House. Pursuant to Order 34.1, I therefore refer the matter, the complaint lodged by the Honourable Member for Boku Central and a majority leader to the Committee on Privileges and Immunities for examination, inquiry, investigation, and report to the House. The committee is directed to 1. Ascertain the relevant facts giving rise to the complaint, including the actions taken by the House and by the Honourable Member concerned. Honorable members, having reviewed the complaint, the standing orders, and the governing principles, I am satisfied that the matter raised prima facie
are watching him, and the minister must be programmed for the ensuing week to come, because he himself already told this house, and the majority leader is on record to have said that the minister will come as many times as possible. Where is the many times as possible?
Honourable member, you are a member of the business committee. One of these days, I will sit at the business committee with you.
Speaker, can I conclude?
You can conclude.
Yes, I will conclude, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, business committee, I was there. The leader himself is here. He will bear witness. I was there. In fact, the leader was in a hurry. So he said that if I know you have something, say it, because I have other meetings. Then I said, leader, you assured us that the lands minister will be here as many times as possible. Then he instructed the table office that they should check and make sure they program. So I was expectant that the lands minister will be programmed. That's why I'm surprised that he's not here. There's no program. I thank you for enduring me. And maybe
yes, any further comment? Any further comment? Yes, so let's take the last comment so that you can come and respond and then we adopt. Please go ahead, you have the floor, Minority Leader.
The Speaker said that I asked him and he said he would want to comment before he takes me. That is why I sat.
No, add your own to it.
Very well, that's okay. Speaker, first, there is this issue of Mpox cases. It's on the rise. According to the Ghana Health Service, as of November 25th, confirmed cases of Mpox.
Honorable Minority Leader, under what order are you doing that?
Mr. Speaker, is that where this parliament is heading to? No, because, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, if
we
this is where
are commenting on the business statement.
Speaker, I have been a majority
there
leader
is
before.
An appropriate period.
I need to lay a foundation. Please, Mr. Speaker, let's not do it and say contempt. On the next thing with that, we should all go for contempt. Please give me some space. I'm laying a foundation.
A foundation for what?
For the fact that, Mr. Speaker, if we bring the business statement is brought. It's for members to comment on the statement. In commenting on the business statement, they make input. They draw attention to matters that are in the country, so that the leader of government business will now, if he finds it fit, programs a minister to address the matter, or the speaker will direct that this matter be considered. Mr. Speaker, that is what I know. So what is wrong with me bringing a matter up and requesting the majority leader that a minister be programmed to address the house on it? So listen to me first. I've been there before. I know the rules. Mr. Speaker, Ghana Health Service reports of a rising cases of Mpox. They give official figure to 880. They also talk about the infections spreading and urge the public to be very vigilant. Mr. Speaker, 25th of November, Ghana Health Service, yes, 25th November 2025. Mr. Speaker, on this call, since Ghana Health Service is advising members of the public to be vigilant and strictly observe preventive measures, including personal hygiene and early reporting of symptoms, I propose that this is not a matter that the public can easily appreciate without the people's representatives being part of it as equal stakeholders. On that score, can the majority leader program the Minister of Health to come to this house and brief the house and assist members of parliament with the necessary protocol so that MPs can relate to this when they get to their constituency? Mr. Speaker, Mpox infection rates rising is a serious matter, and this is coming from Ghana Health Service themselves in their database. They need us as stakeholders to help to deal with this matter. So, Mr. Speaker, that is my first call on the minister, local majority leader. Mr. Speaker, the second call is for the Minister of Agri. Mr. Speaker, this is what the EU says. The European Union is warning both Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire that there's a need for them, these two countries, to ensure urgent reforms in their cocoa sector or risk losing significant global market share. The warning stems from increasing global demand for sustainable, environmentally responsible and traceable cocoa production. Key concerns include deforestation, poor farming practices, and weak compliance with sustainability standards. Mr. Speaker, I would want to again make a call on the majority leader to program the Minister of Agri. Mr. Speaker, in the budget, cocoa is a key area that drives the economy in terms of the revenue we receive from the cocoa sector. Mr. Speaker, it is important that the minister comes to the House to brief the nation on steps that Cocoa Board is taking to do reforms in terms of its work, so that we are able to let the international community also know that Ghana is just not doing sleep request for reforms, but indeed steps are being taken to ensure we engage in sustainable agriculture in our cocoa production. Mr. Speaker, the third issue, Mr. Speaker, the third issue has to do with NHI. Mr. Speaker, last week there were media reports to the effect that there are growing concerns regarding service providers who have claims outstanding. Mr. Speaker, Health Insurance Authority itself reports that we have almost about 20 million Ghanaians who have signed on onto the health insurance scheme. Mr. Speaker, if service providers are complaining of non-payment, what it means is that many of the people in the rural areas who otherwise will rely on health insurance will be driven away, especially in the private facilities. I would want to respectfully request of the leader of government business to program the health minister to brief the House steps that the ministry in collaboration with Health Insurance Authority taking to ensure that claims are paid on time and that outstanding service providers whose claims are long overdue are settled. Mr. Speaker, whilst on it, it is also instructive to add that Zipline Ghana just this week announced of shutdown of 3 of its centers. Mr. Speaker, we know the critical role Zipline has been playing, especially in delivering medication to rural health care. Mr. Speaker, they have announced that they will shut down because of over 170 million outstanding claims. Mr. Speaker, it is important that the Minister of Health be able to address this House regarding steps being taken to deal with it, because it's not those of us in the cities that will suffer from this shutdown. It's those in the rural areas who otherwise will need emergency medical care, and if there is blood, the need for them to get blood transfusion as quickly as possible is one of the reasons for bringing in Zipline. Mr. Speaker, my last point. Honorable Acting Defense Minister and Minister of Finance came to brief us on the matter of the Elwak disaster, where 8 young Ghanaian ladies, girls, lost their lives as a result of the stampede that took place when they were there on this recruitment exercise by the Ghana Armed Forces. Mr. Speaker, the minister promised a follow-up. Mr. Speaker, the minister promised a follow-up. May I know from the leader of government business if the acting defense minister can be programmed to share with us steps being taken by government in assisting the families in the funeral of these Ghanaian girls who lost their lives, and whether government has in place any compensation package for their surviving dependents. Because, Mr. Speaker, reports were that there were some difficulties, that arrangements were not sufficient to enable a smooth exercise to be undertaken. They would have dependents, they would have relatives, and it is important that as a nation that honors not only its heroes, but citizens who face such calamity. Mr. Speaker, the families cannot just be told that accept our condolences and then the matter dies and nobody hears about it. Mr. Speaker, that said, I come to our order paper today, page 11, motion 29. Mr. Speaker, since June, this motion that I moved regarding the many Ghanaian youth who were dismissed from workplaces, that a ruling was made and I filed an appeal for a review. Speaker admitted the motion. I moved the motion. It was seconded. A contributor from the majority, Honorable Dafia Mekpo, had his bite on it. Debate on this was suspended. Mr. Speaker, it's been months. We've been raising this thing. They keep advertising it. Mr. Speaker.
So, Honorable Minority Leader, what you are drawing my attention to, once the motion has been programmed on the order paper, what exactly do you want the business committee to do? Mr.
Speaker, I am drawing attention to the fact that though it gets advertised, but we never get to take it. The minister, the leader of government business, drives public business in this house. He drives public business in this house. I am not the one who drives public business. I'm therefore bringing that to his attention, that each week it is programmed, able to take it. Today is Friday. Is it going to be business as usual? Because, Mr. Speaker, time is of the essence. We are talking about the livelihood of over 10,000 Ghanaian youths who have been taken away, who have been sent home. They've lost their employment. They've lost their livelihood. And, Mr. Speaker, we as the people's representatives must be seen to be active. If a motion
my
is on
questions
this
still remain unanswered. What exactly do you want the
Speaker,
business committee?
I want the leader of government
business committee to
the
do.
leader of government business who heads the business committee to facilitate the taking of this motion so that Mr. Speaker can make a determination on it.
So,
because we must have a finality.
What aspect of it do you want to be captured by the business
Mr. Speaker,
statement
the
that has not been
it
captured?
always appear in the order paper and nothing is done. Each week it is programmed. It's part of motions programmed for ensuing week and nothing happens. And it's been so since June 13th. It's been so since June 13th. And we keep raising this matter. If I don't raise it, I will be told that I slept on my right. I will be told that I came to equity as an indolent stakeholder. I want to come to equity with my eyes open. So I don't want to be quiet. We raise it when we get into conclave. We raise it when we get on the floor and nothing happens. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm doing so in good faith. And if the leader of government business is minded, we may take it today, or if it would not be able to get us done, take it today, then when we come next week Tuesday, we should be able to take it. Mr. Speaker, I would want to rest my case because I've mentioned already. Which one? But you can take it. Mama Pat, you can. Mr. Speaker, if you permit, my deputy just brought this market fire, the Cantamanto, and Kumasi Techiman. Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, I earlier ruled on that.
Okay.
So once you are done.
Oh, Mr. Speaker,
yes.
On this market matter.
Very well.
On this matter?
Yes.
Very well. My deputy leader brought it up, so I felt I should.
Earlier ruled
I don't know,
that
Mr.
matter.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, most respectfully, you said you had ruled on it, and I said the deputy leader just came, so maybe he didn't know. So that's okay. We don't need to.
Very well.
Yes, you just
Very
said
well.
you've ruled. That's okay.
Yes, Honourable Majority. You want to make comment on the business statement? Yes. So then, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the Business Committee for a very elaborate statement that they have presented to us this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, before I raise this issue here, I want to make reference to a comment, a categorical statement that was made by Honorable Arnold Ampre, in which statement he said that as a result of the fight against Galamsey, excavators come and they vanish. This is a very serious statement he's made, and this is the House of Records. If my respected
Honourable
leader can give us evidence
Honourable
of where
Deputy Minister for Education, Honourable Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, I always maintain that what we are doing during the time of business statement is not proper and is not within the rules. Honourable members, at the time of business statement, we don't debate. The business committee is supposed to have a meeting, line program. Now, if the business statement is delivered, you can make comments and suggestions that will be taken on board. And those suggestions and comments should be limited to programs that ought to have been on the business statement that didn't appear on the business statement. But as usual, we reduce the time of the business statement to making statements that ought to have been even been dealt with by committees. If what we are doing during business statement should be done during business statement, what are our committees going to do? Some of the issues being raised here for consideration by the majority leader are issues that ought to have been investigated, first of all, by the appropriate committees. That's the reason for which we have committees to deal with some of the issues and report to the House. We have committees. The rules are clear as to what the committees are supposed to do. If there's an issue to be handled by Committee on Interior, please let's give them the opportunity to do that. Now, during the time of business statement, you are coming to respond to a comment that another person has made. Should that be allowed during a period of business statement? When issues are raised within the rules, the leader and then the chairman for the business committee will be called upon to address those issues. No member can get up to say that somebody has raised an issue, I want to respond to that particular issue. It doesn't happen when we are considering business statement. And let me also state that the rules are clear as to how you can raise a matter of urgent public importance. make use of the rules. But during the time of the business statement, you cannot say you want to raise matter of urgent public importance.
You're welcome back. We took you to Parliament to see what happened over the last week. Now let's get back onto our conversations. Over the weekend, WASI 2025 results were released. And for everybody who writes a final examination, you're looking forward to your results, especially as the results will propel you to the next level of your education. For those in the second cycle institutions, your results will lead you into the tertiary institutions. They've been home waiting for results. Some had already applied for university, awaiting the results. Over the weekend, the results were released. But something shocking happened and very disappointing. For the core subjects, many of the students trailed with F9 grades. You know that within our educational context, if you want to enter into the tertiary level, you should be aiming for anything above D7. And for anybody who has D7, it creates a problem for you. There's a very high probability you would have to rewrite to be able to enter into the tertiary space. Now F9, so many students with F9, to the point where nearly 1 in 4 students, and so if you picked 4 students, there was a high possibility that one of them failed either mathematics or social studies. Social studies is very surprising because it's one of the core subjects that people are able to fall on as a lifeline. But not so for 2025. We'll have conversations on this, and very right to have an educational watcher, people who pay attention to our education sector. This morning I have with me in the studio Patrick Appiah-Dankwa. He is the Deputy Director for IFEST. Thank you for joining us, Patrick. It's great to finally see you after so many virtual conversations.
Yes, it's great to be here as well.
Yeah. Did you expect these numbers of failures? Beg your pardon, F9 is a fail in the 2025 WASI.
Okay, I would say for some of us, we are actually shocked that it didn't come earlier.
Really?
Yes, because considering all the conditions that are making teaching and learning quite difficult in the senior high school, we thought this would come a bit earlier when the free senior high school program commenced. Now there has been concerns that there's been a lot of collusions in the past, and there have been serious assistance by certain bodies. That's why the grades have looked good.
Okay.
Yes, and there's been allegations in the past. But what we are seeing right now is the raw scores that we have always envisioned that would come out if everything was done properly and the collusions were limited. And I like what you said about social studies being a lifeline. You know, if your English language is not too good, you're going to find a problem with the social studies as well, because your lexicon should be at a certain level to get that going. But the most important thing that we need to look at is, for now, we are analyzing it at the macro level, and we need to analyze it at the micro level as well.
Okay.
We are now looking at the national average, which is quite disturbing. But we need to take data and have a critical look at how it came this way. And the only way we can get this information is to look at it at a micro level. And when I say the micro level, I mean we have to look at all the schools that participated and how they all contributed to the national average. Because we have, if you look at the statistics, you may be just increasingly concerned, but your concern needs to be informed with data. And we need to look at all the schools and look at the schools especially that contributed to this national average. It's only then that we can make meaningful decisions or have meaningful discussions. But if we just look at it at the macro level, that 1 in every 4 failed, wouldn't be able to have a very good discussion. So we need to look at the micro level, that which schools also contributed to this. And for us as IFEST, we would also want to go back and look at all those who contributed to the failures. What was their results? What results did they bring to the senior high school? It will help us and will guide us on what to do going forward. But other than that, if you just look at it at the macro level and say this is what the students, the results that they had, and this is how the results contributed to the national average, we wouldn't be able to make too much. What do you call it? We wouldn't be able to make a good or more informed decision. So we need to look at the micro level as well. Yeah.
You talk about collusion in some of the issues that have been raised about collusion, but you look at the beginning of ESHS, the results were good. Even up until last year, there were some good results, and then in just a year, the decline has been extremely sharp. If you were going on a camera, I'm sure would have broken, because the decline is really mind-blowing. When I saw the report, I was shocked. I was like, what has happened within the last 1 year to cause this? And that is where I want us to pay our attention to. Again, concerns have been raised about collusion between teachers and then examiners for students to pass. Is it that, if that is anything to go by, is it that in the past 1 year there have been stringent measures for which now the students have had to show their prowess, and so because of that we have seen their real size?
Usually when you want to make an informed decision, you take data over a period of time. Now you look at this period. It's actually a short term to make a decision that because of these results that have come, we can make a decision that there's a problem with free SHS. Now, as I said earlier, at our end at IFEST, we are a bit more concerned that this didn't show up early. We are a bit more concerned because when we took data some time back, that was just about 2 years into the free SHS, there were some students who hadn't shown up in class for a significantly long time but had very good grades.
In the WASI? In
the WASI. Students who hadn't shown up in schools that we did some research.
Were they day students or boarders?
Now, no, they were day students actually. Now, but this one problem over here. Unlike 10 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, where we didn't, probably it wasn't at the height of free SHS, you'd realize that things were done properly at the senior high school. What do I mean by things were done properly? We all went to the dining hall at the same time. We all left at the dining hall at the same time. We all went for prep at the same time. We all left at the same time. Now what has happened is that we have lots of batches. Even when we did the green, yellow tracking system, we still had students in the school who had to track when it came to dining, when it came to prepping, and when it even came to teaching and learning. So at certain point, you see children loitering about, and you ask them, are you not supposed to be in class? And they'll tell you, no, I'm for the second class. So truancy came up.
Okay.
They may be for the first class, but they'll tell you, I'm for the second class. You know, so in fact, it's a whole messed up system now. It's a whole messed up system now. But what we were hoping and praying for was that there'll be a proper review and proper data will be taken, so that when we use this data, we can use it to make informed decision.
Okay.
Now, to have a near perfect, and you realize that the first 4 years of the free SHS, they even did better than the previous 4 years. Yes, the first 4 years of the free SHS system, they did better than the 4 years. So it looked as if something had been done. We envisaged that performance will drop because we had significantly high levels of the carrying capacity. You know, when I say carrying capacity, I mean the ratio of the number of students to the facilities, the number of students to the teachers and all that. So statistically, it would have made sense if in the first few years of the free SHS, if this problem showed. But it was near perfect. In the first few years of the free SHS, it was near perfect. The current capacity was high. Teachers were overburdened. Facilities were overburdened. But the results were exceptionally good. And it was better than the previous years. But the few investigations that we had done shown that there were a lot of things that were done that some of them, it may be difficult to come to the public domain, which show that the results weren't genuine.
They weren't. And
Absolutely.
so from where were the results not genuine? Was
Now,
it from the examination hall or from the marking?
You say if you go to the marking, then you are talking about the government has a responsibility where they have to financially meet, because of the free SHS, they have to financially meet the demands of WAEC. And you don't want to say discussions may be had, but especially at the level of the exams. You know, there was a claim by the current president.
Was then an ex-president.
Yes, there was a claim that the results were genuine and there was significant assistance. In fact, I even told the ex-president, through my submissions, that he had to prove it. And the reason why I said he had to prove it was because if an ex-president makes this claim internationally, everybody can pick up and say, even the ex-president says we can't trust this. So it was just our hope that it would have come from a different person.
Not him.
Not him. It would have come from a different person for political reasons and for when it comes to international dialogue, so that these things will be looked at. But the only thing is that we were quite surprised that in the first few years of the free SHS, when it was introduced, where we expected some of these challenges to come up, it showed near perfect results. We had over 60 to 70% in the core passing, and failures were around 11%, 12%. You know, so we were quite concerned, and based on the little investigations that we did, we realized that we had to look at certain figures. But I think right now what's happened is that WAEC has been more strict. A lot of teachers have been sacked for collusion and all that. So we believe that what is happening is the actual thing that we should see.
Okay.
Yes.
But let me go back to the first 4 years of free SHS and the near perfect results that you talked about. Beyond that examination, did you also look into the results of some of these students when they entered into the tertiary institution? Because to a very large extent, your tertiary education is able to show those who will be able to stay afloat with regard to their strength. In as much as we appreciate the outliers, there could be various situations that could account for your non-performance.
Absolutely.
If a student was making straight A's in the WASI, 8 A's, and entered into the university and it was the inverse, then we'll see a problem. And so on your part as IFEST, after looking at the results from that angle, did you also go a step further and looked at university performances? Okay.
Now let me put this across before. Now if you make between an A1 to C,
yeah,
right, we say you've got the grades and you qualify enough to be in the university. If you get a D, if you get a D7, that means you made between 40 to about 49. That gives you a D7, and that doesn't qualify you enough. But the grade that gives you a D7, that doesn't qualify you to go to university. That grade at the BEC level, right? If you get this grade at the BEC level, you are more than qualified to go to the SS.
Right.
So that means what doesn't get you to the university, it gets you to the senior high school. Now let's quickly come back. Now, the statistics that we took from the universities shown that more students have voluntarily dropped from the university.
Really?
Yes. Ever since the free senior high school started, more of them have voluntarily dropped from the university than previous years.
Okay.
So that means They went there with grades that presumably showed that they could meet the challenge, but they couldn't. Now, let's look at the requirements that you need. Let's look at the requirements for the free SHS. I think the other time when we spoke, I mentioned it, that you need an 8 in math and an 8 in English language. Now, if you make an 8 in English language, that means you scored somewhere in the 30s. Now, to score in the 30s, mind you, lexis and structure 40 marks, comprehension 30 marks,
70,
and your composition is 30 marks. Now, if you score 30, presumably it was 10 across board. Now, that means your comprehension is average. And that's why they didn't do well in the social studies. That means your comprehension is average. That means your composition is average. That means your lexis and structure is average. So that 32, mind you, now when we are scoring, when we mark the BEC, there are times the students are performing so bad, you need to throw in about 2 or 3 marks for them so they can move ahead in life, as I put it. So if we should adjust it for collusion and adjust it for the generosity of the examiner, we may take out about 15 marks out of it. That means to score 8, you may have made just 15 out of 100. Now, how bad should you be to make 15 out of 100? Then we push you to the senior high school. So the results that are in is expected, because if your comprehension is bad, you need the comprehension for your social studies. If your lexis and structure is bad, that means you can't string a perfect sentence together. For the first time, that was I think during the election, for the first time, a professor in the University of Ghana told us that students in the university, some of them can't even string a sentence together. And when did we ever hear this? So this is how bad we are doing, garbage in, garbage out, and it keeps continuing. And what's going to happen is that if we are not careful at certain strategic places like the medical school, civil engineering, biomedic engineering, and all that, what's going to happen is that you are going to get average students having the feel that it's okay. But
for entry into the university, we really appreciate the very stringent methods by which they select students for our medical schools and certain courses. The cutoff points, regardless of free SHS, whether there is free SHS or not, the cutoff points have remained same throughout, and so
that's after when you get to a level 200. Yes,
even for level 100 and
the University of Cape Coast, yes,
and University of Ghana and other universities. And so I come back again to free SHS. Free SHS was also supposed to expand accessibility for students. We appreciate that not everybody after the SHS level would want to enter into the university, but there were barriers in the ways of students who after JHS they couldn't, and so the exposure was not even there. If you didn't go to SHS, you had a very limited exposure to life. You went to SHS, and because of meeting people from diverse backgrounds, it gave you a broader exposure to life, and so it meant that it also opened you up to more people than you would know at the junior high school level. And so beyond even getting the grades for university, did the free SHS not deal with the matter of exposure, accessibility to education, so much so that your least qualification would not just be the JHS certificate?
Okay, now I think what you've mentioned right now, if I add academic outcomes to it, then we're looking at general educational outcomes and what they got through the free SHS. But the question that I'd like to put across to yourself, to your listeners, to everybody: what was the reason for which the then government suggested that we should have free SHS? What was the main reason? Financial. It was finances. They said prospective students and parents didn't have the means to take their children to school. So let's limit the discussion to the means. We are doing research. Let's limit the discussion to the means, so that when we are taking data, we can make the data adequate in solving our problems. It was finances. It wasn't great. So if you say the problem is finances, why did you drop the entry requirements? Because formerly you needed to make up to about 30. Then at the time it was even 24. It used to be 24 in this lovely country. We said 24 is a good average to go to school because you made a C. So that's okay. Once you have an average result, when the teachers do a little bit, you can't get there. Now, what happened during the then Mahama's era was that some schools said, after taking the 24, we still have spaces in our school. Then they introduced self-placement. That if you have a space in your school and you think you can take a student who had between 25 and 30 and work with them, like what Ideal College does, like what Action Senior High School does. If you have space and you think you can work with them, let them do self-placement. Then they did up to 30. So then the MPP come in and they said, we believe we have to do free SHS because people haven't got money to go to school. Then we said, okay, if it's money, let's maintain the entry requirement and let's do free SHS. Then they noticed that if we maintain, it wasn't actually the issue of money. So that if we maintain the entry requirement, what was going to happen was that free SHS, government would be spending a lot of money, but there wouldn't be any justification because the percentage increase will be little to not. So what they did was that they lowered the bar so that more people could go to school. So that was what was that. That's why now you don't need 24 or 30 like during Muhammad's time, but you can go. I don't know if you want us to do the calculation together.
We can.
Let's do it together. So now this is what can take you to school. Let's just do it. So that means if you get 8 in maths and 8 in science, 8 in maths and 8 in English language, that gives you 16.
Right.
You need 4 other results to add to it. What if I made 9 in all the other results? I can still go to school.
But should that stop the JHS students from going to SHS? Because there are some people who have peaked in SHS.
Yes, but you see, statistically, that's why BEC is what we call a checkpoint exam. It's a checkpoint exam. It's to find out whether you are ready, well equipped, you understand, you have all the bases to move to the next challenge.
So if they made 9 all through, and as a checkpoint exam, it meant that the student was not ready, they should stay home and try again?
Now, you see, when you look at what that's when the private senior high schools came in. The Ideal colleges, the Action and the Achimota Business colleges. You see, what we were doing was that candidates who took the exams and didn't perform too well went there. They went back to the bases to start with them. A lot of the headmasters and the heads of schools have put in concerns that they wish some of the children will be repeated. But because of the nature of the free SHS, that can happen. Because you may have a significant number of them be repeated and it will affect intake for the following year. I hope you understand. So now we need to make sure that students are meeting the requirement. Why do we write exams? It's to assess if you know, if you're ready to move on.
I want to go back to the aspect where it says the BC is a checkpoint exam. If you do not do well, this is where the actions, the Ideal colleges come in. But more things than not, we also realize that the students that are not doing well are mainly coming from the deprived areas. Deprived areas, their parents, and we go back to the financials. Their parents do not have the spare money or the spare cash to take them to the actions, to the Ideal colleges that are paying significantly higher than the regular senior high schools. And so for that student, at that point, if their parents are unable to move them forward, that is the end of their life. What do they do? Compared to if you got to SHS, you did not do well, at that point you're about 18 years. You can stand on your feet just a little bit. You're an adult to a certain extent and can do some work. And I come back to the exposure you would have gotten to certain people because of school. And so going back for remedial is an option, so that if after writing remedial exam and you did well, you could now apply for a tertiary institution. And so between these 2 points, checkpoint at SHS compared to at JHS, beg your pardon, compared to SHS where I could put myself together and then try again. wouldn't we rather look at the SHS route than the JHS?
You know, the SHS is a progression from the junior high school. And you need to make certain marks. You need to show or demonstrate a healthy understanding of basic concepts to move on. You can't drive a car, and I tell you to fly a plane. That's what we're asking them to do. Now, let me quickly go back to what you said. We are assuming, you know, one thing about having discussions without data is that it's purely assumption. Now, we are assuming that those in the deprived areas, they because they don't have the funds, that's why they are not able to. Now, the policy document for the free SHS, you know, when you want to come up with any policy, you need to prepare what we call a policy document. The policy document tells everybody who takes the document that this is the reason why you are doing this policy. Now, how many people in this country have seen that policy document? That's the first thing. Why have you come up with something and you've hidden the policy document? Why is it not accessible to the public? So that we know the genuine reason why we are doing free SHS. Not just by saying, want to do free SHS because we realize people don't have. As the Bible said, the poor always be amongst you. So it's easier to make a statement and target the poor so that anybody who comes, you fight the person. Hey, you don't want the poor person to go to school. You don't want the poor person to go to school. But at the end of the day, what's happening? Let's track back again. Now, if we are saying the free SHS was done for the average poor, deprived person, the government, the education service has brought a policy that guarantees that about 10 to 15% space in the first choice school is available to those from deprived areas. That is a policy targeted for those in deprived areas. So now you go to the senior high school and you have, you notice a lot of the students in private schools, when they get to the final year, they move to government schools to go and write the exams. Because you need to just write a little and get your pass. Remember the discussion that I put across initially?
Yeah.
You know, why would somebody in second year in a private school go and write exams and make 10? And somebody in the final year in the private schools go and write and will come up with 24 or something. So you notice there is something happening in the public school already for them as a policy that guarantees that they get to the best schools. So that policy is already there. So when you come up with a blanket policy, free SHS for everybody, including private schools where they have money. Remember, Uforiata mentioned something some time back. I don't know why a parent in a Achimoto school can't pay for the fees of the child. So you realize that everybody is even suggesting that if we should spend that amount of money, it should be targeted.
Okay.
So if somebody in second year can go and write the BEC in a public school with a whole year left to prepare and just put in some effort and make 14, and somebody in the final year who presumably has studied for all 3 years would also write the same paper and come up with 20 or 24. That should let you know that something is already being done for our public schools. So if we add a blanket policy like free SHS, which is draining the whole country, and it's not planned well and it's not targeted, at the end of the year, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that we will seemingly be wasting resources because we need data to make decisions. So we need to look at it critically. And as I said, if you look at the results in its macro phase, you may not be able to make an informed decision. We need to look at it at the micro level too. Let's look at the schools that contributed
to the failure. Okay.
And let's significantly look at their carrying capacity. Because now you go to a class, we have about 94 students to a teacher. Let's say we are teaching maths, and about half of the class do not understand. And it's just a period, an almost, 2-hour period. And about half of the class do not understand what the teacher is saying. Do you think the teacher will have the opportunity to explain to all of them? He wouldn't be able to do it. I hope you understand. So considering the carrying capacity, we need to go back and look at it at the micro level. Look at the carrying capacity of such schools and even look at the grades that the children or the students brought, so that we'll be able to make an informed decision. Else we just look at the national average and we'll say they are not doing well, And I believe very soon we are going to have a press conference of one party saying the other party is not doing well.
I mean, we're seeing comments on social media where pro NPP people are saying that this is a deliberate ploy by this government to fail a lot of students, so that the story out there is that the free SHS has a problem and so we want to scrap it. We also see in pro NDC people saying, well, these are issues that were there. And then the government just covered it up because government needed to have results to sell the free SHS. It's why I kept asking about the showing up of students in the university as compared to SHS, the results here. You tell us about the dropouts. I would have loved to see more data, you're saying. But the former education minister, Dr. Yawase Duchum, says that we can blame the results that we are seeing on some interventions that the NDC government have discontinued, interventions for teachers that the government has suspended. With our teachers, how remunerated are they when it comes to the students they are teaching in our SHS, or the motivation that they receive? We appreciate the numbers that they are teaching. We appreciate the time that they are spending on students. And so, can the former minister really be right when he says that we are seeing the decline based on how teachers are feeling at this point? Because a few days ago, a few weeks ago, we were seeing in the news teachers are agitated. Some of them are unhappy about their circumstances, not just at the SHS level, but across.
Yes. Now, let me. You see, usually when you throw statistics and data, it makes the conversation more interesting. Generally, private schools are performing better than public schools. Now, the top private schools that charge the dollars or charge whose fees are in the range of the middle upper to the upper class, they are less than 25% of private schools. Now, government pays better than private schools when it comes to the other 75%, which is the majority. Government pays better. Government is paying better than them in the 75%, which is the majority. But private schools are performing better than government schools. So now the question that you ask is that, is it related to salary? No, it's not. Now, what has this government done? What it has done is that it has increased, it has, what do you call it, this funding, GET Fund. It has uncapped GET Fund. We have more money released to schools now in an unprecedented manner. So if he says it is money, how soon has this been? Ever since the government came to power. What's the time frame? About 8 months, about 9 months. We are now in our 12 months. When did they write the exams? I hope you get it. So his talk, I'd say, is purely political. It's purely political because government is paying well, but private schools are performing better. So it's no money. What is the cracks that were papered? It's what we are seeing. So with what Dr. Duchum is saying, it's you can't relate that to the current performance. If you bring proper data, he should, but you can't relate that to this.
So, I mean, looking ahead, free SHS should be cancelled. Is that what you're calling for?
You see, when you come up with a policy, you need to do whole core policy review. So we should have a bipartisan review of the free SHS. It's not its cancellation. We have to just review it. And you see, policy review, our worry is that policy review is an integral part of policy formation. And it's an integral part of implementing a policy. If you bring a policy at the end of a stated period, you need to review that policy. Let's say you buy a car. You bought the car because you want to get to work early. Now, after a month, you need to sit down and say, after I bought the car, how was it affecting my finances? I hope you get it. And have I gotten to work early? And has it made me more productive? if you check all these things and you realize that you are spending more money on the car, but you still don't get to work early, you are no more productive, you should confidently tell yourself that this car hasn't made me better. Let me sell it. Let me wake up early and sit in a trotro and get to work early. I hope you get what I'm saying. So, policy review is an integral part of the policy implementation process. So that if a whole government with professors and PhD holders, you say we have bought free SHS, we won't review it. Anyone that says we should review it is against free SHS. Then we look at this and we look at some of these PhD holders and say, this is really evil. Because policy review is not a sin. It's not wrong. It's to find out if what you intended to do, you are meeting these plans and these actions. But you say we shouldn't review it.
And so in reviewing free SHS, as you have been calling, what are the various objectives that you would seek for the review to deal with?
Thank you. That's a lovely question. Now, when you bring a policy, the policy is targeted at achieving something. The policy was brought to presumably alleviate the issue of financial stress and burden on the parents. So we need to look at it, and the most important thing about this education and this education outcomes, I hope you get it. We need to look at the reason why we brought the policy, take away financial burden, and see how it is impacting on education. So we need to sit down and ask ourselves, ever since we brought this policy, has it done this? By doing that, we take data and we find out, ever since we brought it, has it made a difference to the lives of the people? Are they living better? Are they having better lives? As in, do they now have a bigger disposable income to do other things? We need to find out. Now, we need to look at the educational outcomes as well. Has it made education better? Are we getting students who better understand what we are doing? But you see, if you are saying the free SHS was brought to alleviate poverty, then we need to go to this presumably poor people and find out whether ever since we did this, more children are going to school based on the original outcomes. Mind you, I told you, when they brought the free SHS, they lowered the bar for the entry requirement. They should have maintained it. I hope you get it. So it's because of what happened with that, the fact that they had to lower the bar for the entry. That's why they can't review it. Because if you want to review it, you need to review it based on certain benchmarks. And that has become a critical benchmark. But that wasn't initially part of the reasons why we did the free.
But in lowering the bar, wasn't the government then justified in lowering the bar? I am in Accra. I attend Mother Care School. I'll use my primary school for that. I attend Mother Care School. I mean, excellent school, excellent teachers. The class size is small enough for teachers to go about. And then there's a student who attends a school in a very, very deprived area. When it rains, they can't go to school. Ventilation in the school is bad. School uniform terrible. Even the meals they eat during school is an issue. Obviously, this student is not getting the kind of education I'm getting in Mother Care School, which is in East Cantonment. Excellent. And so if you expect me, who has maybe aggregate 8, to go to the same school with a student who is not getting good education, and so the person cannot even get.
So the student didn't get good education in the first place.
Yes, and is not getting the results, and you put us on the same scale to enter school. Aren't we doing them a disservice? Wouldn't we rather market at the level where the students can come up a bit so that they can enter into school? Because sometimes teachers or examiners will tell you maybe the pass mark, but at some point the lecturer determines what 50 is when they look at all of the results they are getting from a class. If the best is 40, then 40 then becomes the presumed 50. And so in this case, if we want to go by the same one standard, aren't we doing a disservice to that?
So let me throw in a simple question to make it easy. Now, if I suggest that, or a doctor comes in here and recommends that you take 75 milligrams of tramadol right now, will you take it?
No, I know it's bad for me.
It's not that it's bad for you. It's because you don't require it now. But you can get to a certain pain where you require that tramadol. I hope you get it. So I like what you're saying. Why don't we target the policy?
Okay.
And forget about those who are paying 8,000 cedis a term in private schools. I hope you get where I'm coming from.
But you see, some people also raise concerns that life happens. Life could happen. Where, yeah, I'm paying 8,000 cedis in primary school. I'm getting the best of education. I don't even know what it means for a teacher not to come to class. But I mean, these are quite extreme cases. But life could happen where I would need that.
So let me jump you back to university. You know, university, you have the option to take a student's loan.
Right.
So those that life has happened to them, they apply for it. Those who are okay, they don't apply for it. I hope you get it. So if you make a blanket policy and it's not targeted, and we are taking, because mind you, ever since the free SHS was started, we have less than 20% of the funds allocated to education going to the basic school. So we are creating a problem at the basic school because of the free SHS. I hope you understand. So I like what you're saying. I think it's perfect though. I think it's perfect. But let's target it to those who need the money. Those who don't need the money, let's save their money and make our basic schools better.
Okay, when we come back from this break, we'll look at the targeting.
Absolutely.
Because I'm very much concerned about the quality of education at the basic school.
Which forms the basis for what
yes,
happens.
a lot of people are not getting the best of education at the basic school. My producer Samoni Magbo, just last week we were talking about schools. He tells me about his school in the Kratchi area, where the school is in a deplorable state. For Sami's been able to go through, and he's producing me, and a very excellent man. And so there are issues at our basic education level. You talk about targeting. We'll look at that when we come back from this break. Stay with us. This is a very interesting conversation. We're looking at our education sector in general. This year's WASI 2025 results have opened a kind of worms that maybe for a while we've tried not to open, or a Pandora's box that we had not wanted to open. But at the end of the day, we'll see what really we can do more for our students in the second cycle institutions and really in our basic institutions. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Playing for your country, and easy. Scoring, and easy. Winning, and easy. You know what be easy now? Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. I easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey there and welcome to Streets with Day. On this episode, we are at Circle going to ask people a few questions about the new products of Gino. Stay tuned and follow me. Pacho, your say? Okay. Into your first question, one say, we should Gino adverts now. Omo nyumbi ende no omo kan bibi wo ho. Omo kan dey.
Gino Macris hi. Amenya no.
3 sentences, 3 words. Wait me catch me. Gino bibi. Wait me catch me.
Oh, love you no.
But you want to mean Gino.
Me too bad. Anyway, na nure bi kakla.
Wow. I love Gino. I can't miss this one. Is Gino pepper and onion?
Yes, that's correct. So here's your gifts for it.
Wow, thank you.
Hey Gino.
Gino.
Tomatoes paste. Ella, the onion, na pepper wom, bibia wom. What the bunch of love na ko here.
Gino.
Perfume rice. I perfume rice. Different ones, Saba.
Aye. But we tomato paste near there, Gino.
As for that, the perfume rice. No papa near.
Rent back with the beer open. Come on, come see what? Where this guy? My friend, still before.
It's the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Win cash daily, weekly, and a grand prize of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Just reload or buy a bundle with Telestar Cash to earn points and stand a chance to win big. Dial *500# or visit the Telestar Play app to opt in and start winning in the Telestar Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
When is campaign? If you're a baby, many schedule no. If you know, meto etiaka. Inti ene, uno banu mumpe baby amubeda. Oh, na abeka. You did too much money. No matter.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Imagine a sport without rules, a game without passion, an arena without chance. What drives the champions? What fuels the rivalry? What separates the winners from the rest in the world of sports?
On the show, we shall start by interrogating your Admit of Matters with expert insight, former renowned medical professionals, providing you with actionable advice and cutting-edge knowledge to prevent injuries and optimize performance. Then we'll connect you to the talking points where we'll bring you the big names, the famous faces, and leading voices on our radar in the world of sports for a lively conversation and diverse perspective.
Eugene Soti, your chief data guy on the talking points. On the African Tracker, I'll break down the performance of your favorite African players abroad, scrutinizing every detail and exploring the nuances and rules governing the game.
Meet us in your area for Area Take as we plug into sports perspective and hear your thoughts on every play of the game.
On Ghana Focus, we shall spotlight our domestic leagues and heroes of other sporting disciplines.
I'm James Markion, your go-to expert for everything local. I'll review the fixtures from the locker room to the pitch and from the management to the fans. I've got you covered.
Oh la la! Don't miss out on the double excitement. It's a fun pack, pulsating and complete wrap of everything in sports, from boxing to football, tennis, NBA and more. Sports World on ABC with Victor and the team as every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Sports World on ABC. Sports beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're still watching ABC in the morning here on ABC News GH. This year's 2025 WASI results are out. The F9s, so many. I cannot imagine the heartbreak in many homes for those who have already picked forms, and because of one F9, especially in mathematics, they may not or they will not be able to enter into their dream university because they would have to rewrite the paper. For some people, another route may be the option for them, but will that route get them into the dream program they want to read? Now, I come back to you, Patrick, and I have with me the Deputy Director for IFEST, Patrick Apiadankwa, with me here. Patrick, we are looking at so many phases of education. We have a very interesting education system here in Ghana. apart from you go to school and we want to know how much you've been paying for school fees. That will help us to even appreciate you. Oh, Papa was scar. Your father has money. That's why you attended the school. For some, I would pay an arm and a leg to enter into Presec Legon, to enter into Wesley Girls Senior High School, to enter Achimota School. And so I don't care, by whatever means, I must be there. And it is that or nothing. All of these things have opened up conversations about elitism in our schools. And so for some, free SHS has messed up the elite conduct of their schools. Do you blame free SHS for that?
For that has been there even before free SHS. That has been there before free SHS. But what has happened is that now government has given some allocations to public schools, public basic schools for the A or the first choice schools. So it so happens that even for now you don't have to, if you go through the public school, you don't have to put in so much effort to get there. And we have a significant number of students in public schools too, so they are flooding in there, and it's reducing the numbers of those who had to genuinely pass and find their way over there. That's why you have a lot of people paying as much as 30,000, 40,000 to go to the Wesley Girls, to go to the Achimota schools and all that. So now if there's a market for the first choice schools, I believe the government should make an effort in opening more branches of the first choice schools, because it's the name. So if we have Wesley Girls A, Wesley Girls B, I think it will help, because it's something that's coming up, So, and I like what the minister said, he said they are going to invest and upgrade the B choice schools into the A schools.
Now let me go back to the conversation we're having before we came out. I needed to chip this in because I will be building up on that. But to our conversation, looking at how under-resourced, underserved many of our public basic schools are, especially in the hinterlands, in the rural areas. Traveling across the country, seeing some of these kids go into school, their uniforms are tattered. Some of them no shoes to go to school. You look at the school buildings and obviously they are not having the best. For a while now, teachers have been very bold to show what's happening in their schools. They're teaching with the least of resources. You're already creating a divide even from the basic level. And so how do we deal with this? And we talk about the how and now. We'll keep talking about it till it's dealt with. But how are we dealing with this decisively in the very short term so that they can match up, do well, so that, like you're saying, we don't have to expand it so that with 56 you're going to school. We see our sisters and our brothers in the rural areas also make the 12, the 8, the 16, and make it to the SHS.
Yes. Now the problem in the rural areas is how their living is scattered. That's one major issue.
Okay.
In Accra, if you take just a square mile, you may get about, let's say, 10,000 people, 20,000 people, and that alone can flood a school of a population of, let's say, 1,005. But when you go to the rural areas, the living is so scattered. So if you want to curb that long distance and those canoe rides to school, what may happen is that you may have to invest a lot in putting up school buildings. So let's say you go to a place like Fantiakwa South. You realize that we have a lot of scattered communities. You go to, for every say 300 meters, you have just a family of, let's say, 50 living in that area. So if you want to build a school, where are you going to center the school? I hope you get it. So as a lot of the issues over there, I want to believe that it's not just that government hasn't noticed it, but it's because of how the place is scattered. the living is scattered. So you may have to centralize the school somewhere, and they will all have to come. And you realize that some of the schools that they even have, it doesn't even take a population of about 500. So if you want to build for every kilometer, you want to put a school over there, you end up probably having about 20 schools for a population of about 300 people. And how many people are going to be in the schools? So that means you are going to have, let's say, about 50 people in one school, and you need to employ the same resources for them. You need to give them a science teacher, you need to give them an agric teacher, you need to give them a social studies and all that. So one of the problems in the rural areas is because of how the population is scattered. That's why the school has to be centralized somewhere, and we all have to move. You look at a similar thing with the banks. The further you leave Accra, you notice that you go to a place about almost 10 kilometers, there's just one bank. By Accra, you turn to your right, there is a bank, and there are even some places that you have two, the same bank with two branches, you know, located at that place. So the problem with the infrastructure in some of these areas is also because of the population, how scattered they are. That's why they face that. So it's not really that government, be it MPP, NDC, are not looking at it. They are looking at it critically. But if you want to solve it, that means you need to have about 4 or 5 schools in that area, and you would have to get fewer students in that area, but you still have to employ all basic, all core subject teachers or elective teachers, and the cost of running will become very, very expensive.
But if at the end of the day we're able to put a lot into free SHS, we want the best education for students, the F-Cube, free compulsory universal basic education, one that everybody should enjoy. Shouldn't we see governments do that for them so that these students can match up? Because they can't be the ones who have to be getting the 36, the 40s, the 50s.
They're not making it in private schools too, so it's not only them. That's interesting though. But to add to that, I'd say, you see, we need to be intentional. We need to be intentional. We need to be intentional. If we are not intentional about educational policies, what's going to happen is that we may just throw money around and presume that the children will be educated. So we need to be intentional. Now, one thing that we miss out when it comes to education is parental involvement.
Okay.
If you do economics of education, educational management and practice, parental involvement is very necessary at any point in time. Now, free SHS is more of the government is doing the work. So, I mean, parents can't even go question schools that why is my child not doing homework? Why is my child results not pulling up? Why are things not going? Because everything is more of the government, you know. But parental involvement is very, very important. I went to Achimota Basic School. I spent the whole of my basic education over there. It used to be one of the best public basic schools in the country, actually in West Africa. But after F-Cube, what happened? After F-Cube, all parents left. It was just the students, the teachers, and the government. That's where the discussion was centered. And parent involvement was I mean, not significant. So that's one of the problems. So you realize that several years ago, about 20, 30 years ago, a lot of people wanted to go to Achimota Basic School. A lot of people wanted to go to the government basic school. But now, how many people want to go there? I hope you get it. It has become unattractive, simply because of the same thing that may be happening with the free senior high school policy review, F-Cube policy review.
So did you have an issue with F-Cube? Did you think that F-Cube did not serve a purpose?
No, I think it did very well. The only thing is that unlike Europe, where Europe, where you need to make sure that your child gets to school. Now in Ghana, if the kids do not go to school, we don't really care. Now a lot of people who are enjoying the F-Cube are those who have come to live with, as they say, Aqua has come to live with some affluent people as maid servants and all that. They are enjoying this F-Cube. I hope you get it. They are pushing their kids there because they know they can't match up with the kids in the private school. So they've just pushed them there that they should get something done. Now, before FCube, as I said, schools like Achimota School was one of the best schools in the whole of West Africa. But ever since FCube, everything is free, parent involvement is low, and when parent involvement goes low, quality usually drops. Now, take the A choice or the first choice schools, the Wesley Girls, the Achimota schools, the Infantipems and all that. You've noticed that a significant number of their private school, their old school associations are involved in the school. They even pay for teachers. Aside the salaries that they are paid, they give them extra so that they prepare the students for the brilliant science and maths quiz and all that. So you see, all the government policies that come about education, one of the major flaw in them is that it extricates parents. So parents are not really an essential part of the policy. They are not found in it. So every policy that comes up, everything that is done is government.
But in the past 1 year or so, the Parents Association were also raising concerns that they were not seeing the teacher involvement. We now there's a PTA, but for a while there was just the PA.
It was PA, yeah.
There was no teacher in there. So I'm trying to find the marrying, because you say that government interventions to a certain extent remove parents from the conversation.
Yes.
On the other hand, the association says that it's the teachers that are out of it.
Okay. Now, initially we have the PTA, very, very effective. Headmasters and headmistresses weren't misbehaving. They were always on point, getting things done properly. Then free SHS came. Free SHS came and the discussion was mainly government in the school. It wasn't even teachers, it was mainly government in the school. And now, should I say they were disbanded, the PTA. And recently they were brought back. Now let's have the Parent and Teacher Association. I hope you get it. So for some time they were taken out.
Okay.
And now they've been brought in. But if we are looking at performance, and we are talking about the teachers not being part of the P and the A, the teachers not being part. I mentioned something earlier in our discussion, that the carrying capacity. You notice that all the students that we lost, if you follow the story, the student that we lost at Ibri Girls, the other one too at the north, they were all ill. And the stories were the same. The stabbing that also occurred at I think Christian
Riley.
Was it Christian Methodist?
It was a stabbing recently at Riley.
Yes. Now you realize that all the students, in all the three instances, all the students who are the scene said, we want to inform the house mistress, or we inform the house master, or we inform the teachers, and they did nothing. If you follow all the three stories, you know, when the carrying capacity is so high, the teachers are overwhelmed, and now their focus moves from getting proper educational outcome to just showing up in school. So they come to school, children, how are you? We are fine. You remember this topic? Let's go over it. We are done. Whether they understood, they didn't understand. We don't care. We go home. So what has happened right now is that carrying capacity is a very, very important topic when it comes to education. If the numbers are overwhelming, the educational outcomes are likely to drop, because teachers come to class and they don't focus on the outcomes. They just focus on showing up and making sure that some of the students have evidence of what they have taught, so that when anybody comes to check, I did it. The students who didn't meet the standards or the grade requirements to be in my class, I don't really care. So you see, it's a whole chain of mistakes that are being bundled up. So that if we don't sit down, take data, and review what's happening, we're going to leave it as it is, and things are going to happen, and we're going to feel we have educated students. Now, if let me put this across, don't we have more PhD holders per capita than we had 20 years ago? Don't we have more master's holders? Has it made the country better?
To some extent.
20 years ago, you could drink from the tap. Can you drink from the tap now? You remember some 30 years ago, the electricity was very, very stable. Prices were very, very stable. Can we say that now? That's why a lot of the times when they are rated, when schools are being rated, when a country's educational system is being rated, they rate it by your development. They look at the educated people, they look at the programs, they look at the course, and they look at how that is solving your problems, because your education is supposed to solve your problems. I hope you get it. But we were in a country where we have a lot of PhD holders in agric, a lot of PhD holders in environmental studies, and we can't do anything about galamsey. So what are the PhD for?
Well, Patrick, so I mean, I'll come back, pick your final thoughts on free SHS, but let you wade a little into the waters of religious tolerance in our schools. The past week, the issue of Wesley girls has been really high in the conversation. Muslims are saying that just allow us to practice our faith. Others say that you're in a mission school and do what mission schools call for. But we understand that these are assisted schools by government. Where do we find the balance? Are the Muslims asking for too much by asking to be able to freely practice their faith?
Okay, I think this discussion it's difficult, but it's not difficult. It's a bit straightforward on the part of educational outcomes, a bit straightforward. Now, your school is assisted by government, so every law that you make should be ratified by government. Similarly, if you look at the public university, because they are assisted by government, they can't just do whatever they want. So once you are assisted by government and you are not a private educational institution, you need to ratify what you do with the government. Now, it doesn't state in your prospectus that you don't allow Muslims to come in. It doesn't state that it's a mission school, so only the children of missionary, it's just parents who are in that line, Catholics or Anglicans can come in there. It doesn't state. Now, during the placement, you are well aware that they bring Muslims, they bring all other religions over there. So for you at this point to say that you wouldn't allow them to practice, I think it's a discussion that is quite concerning. And considering the fact that it's religion, we need to be very careful. We need to be very careful, because as a school, it would give the impression that you are totally against a certain kind of religion. Whilst in our social studies, in our religion and moral education, we are supposed to be tolerant. So what you are teaching the children at the school, you're not practicing yourself. And it's quite concerning.
Okay.
So I think they should just eat the humble pie and say, we said this, but we think we can make room for you. When it's time for fasting, we would respect you, we'll let you fast, we can set your food aside, and after that you can have your meals at the end of the day. I think that kind of tolerance will rather bond us as a nation, which is the more bigger picture that we are looking at. But to say you are missionaries and you didn't allow Muslims to harmlessly enjoy schooling, I think it's really concerning.
Oh, yeah. Patrick, finally, 1 second.
Yes.
Free SHS, has it failed?
It looks like it's failed, so we should review it.
All right, Patrick, thank you so much for your time this morning. Patrick Appiah-Dankwa is the Deputy Director for iFest. We've enjoyed the conversation today. We look forward to a time when we can have an extensive one and peruse some more into our education sector. Thank you for coming, Patrick. Absolutely. That's all for our main discussion this morning. We'll take a very, very quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest in the world of sports, but we'll also open the lines where you call us and share your thoughts with us. Stay tuned.
The complaint. the standing orders, and the governing principles, I am satisfied that the matter raised prima facie implicates the dignity and institutional integrity of this House. Pursuant to Order 34.1, I therefore refer the matter, the complaint lodged by the Honourable Member for Boku Central and a majority leader to the Committee on Privileges and Immunities for examination, inquiry, investigation, and report to the House. The committee is directed to 1. Ascertain the relevant facts giving rise to the complaint, including the actions taken by the House
to hear your voice. It's your voice that matters, and your voice alone we want to hear. It's time for Ghana Speaks. It's like I'm in a hurry for happy hour, but well, it's time for Ghana Speaks. You can call us on 053-916-1609, 053-916-1609, and share your thoughts with us. F9 in Wasi, so many F9s, very disturbing. I think about students who are at home and they see that they would have to wait another year, try again, and it may be very disturbing for some. Some may be able to recover, others it will take a lot for them to recover. You look at these results, what do you make of it? Some are saying that scrap free SHS. SHS is the reason for the results we are seeing. Is that what you think? Do you agree with that? Call us and share your thoughts with us. 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Call us and share your thoughts with us on all of the conversations we are having today. What do you make of the WASI results? Are you a candidate? Are you a graduate? Did you sit for the 2025 WASI? How are your results? How are your results? How are you coping if they did not go as you were expected? We understand that a lot of results were cancelled, over 600 entire results. And so it means that you would have to sit for the exam once again, every single one of them. You can call us and share your thoughts with us. Let's hear what you have to say on this matter of the 2025 WASI. Call us and share your thoughts. Would love to hear from you. 053-916-1609. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Margaret and I'm calling from Papam.
Oh, Margaret, thank you for calling. Let's hear you.
I don't understand why Ghanaians are so surprised. You had a preacher. Kids went to school, stayed home for 3 months, went to school for a month or so. Parents were not home, so they did not continue education while they were home. In the school, the teachers is taking so many rights away from the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I went to one of the schools and I was told by a teacher that even if you wanted to repeat a child, the parent will come in and chastise you and get angry and say, no, don't do that. So how is it that the country is so surprised that the kids did so poorly? They didn't study because they didn't have the time.
And so for you, it's the fault of free SHS. Should we cancel free SHS then?
I don't know if they should cancel it, but they have to look at it again. I went to a secondary school in Hull.
Okay.
And the influx of students that we were getting into the school who did not meet the criteria of the school was making it so hard for even the kids who were very smart in the school, because now the teacher has a classroom full of maybe kids who came from private school and kids who did not come from private school but did not get touring, so they're not on the same level. And so the teachers they don't know how to teach that mixture. So I'm surprised that us Ghanaians were so shocked.
Okay. Margaret, thank you so much for calling and sharing your thoughts with us.
You're welcome. And thank you for raising the topic. It needs to be discussed.
All right. That's Margaret from Prampram also sharing her thoughts on this matter. Call us and share your thoughts on it. The results we are seeing for 2025 was C. Hello, good morning.
Hello, madam.
What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
Please, my name is Brad.
Your name is?
Brad. My name is Brad. I'm calling from Abekumba.
All right. Thank you for calling. Please share your thoughts with us.
Madam, with due respect, you could say most of us, we are blaming the politicians of how they fund our education in Ghana. We are not going to mention one and get one out. From the time that even our school uniform was changed, you know, formerly we are having Methodist uniform, we have this in the time it was changed to the chocolate color. It is there. It is there. We realized that they have this. It got to a time, MPP came, they said no student must be deemed a failure. And that there was no repetition in class. They should push all of them. Now this one comes, it's also bringing a new, anytime you are playing, the politicians are playing on our intelligence. And they forget that they are in this thing. The way that the masses vote massively against this thing. And
Boss, I'm listening to you, but you seem to be listening to yourself on your TV.
Sorry, okay. No, the way that the masses voted, sorry. Now, the way that the masses voted massively against NDC and NPP, rather, this will equally, because we are the voiceless are many on the ground. And what the politician we did, we thought Mama is coming to change things. But gradually we are going back to our own corrupt, when we say corrupt system, not knowing we're going to say still something in the pocket. But it's not the way you are treating, making our minds, dealing with our minds, is very, very, very pathetic. You are fighting at your own interest. Forget it. So please, authorities must sit up and know whether they go to IMF and take their conditionalities, and now they come and just do our things.
Thank you so much. Let me allow another to also share their thoughts with us. 0539161609. Maybe one or two calls more, and then we'll be done with Ghana Speaks. Let's hear what you have to say on the 2025 WASI results that have seen a lot of F9s and over 600 entire results cancellation. Share your thoughts with us.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from Adinka. I'm Adam.
Adam, thank you for calling. Share your thoughts with us.
Yeah. What it is that I've been following you, and then today, I hope you're doing good. I've been following your program. God bless you and give you long life, good health, and happiness.
And thank you.
I realize we are distracted, and I'm a researcher too. I always say our modern children are out of service area. And they are there because of us. As we stand now, we are talking politically when this is a social pandemic. This exams here is a social pandemic. It's our curriculum, one. One, it is our curriculum, if you will permit me. Two, it is also how we reason. The curriculum, we have called for curriculum reform for the past 5 years. And nobody is hearing it. And then from the interview with the person you interview, he equally enforced the political will and other understanding when he was communicating, when he was looking for answers for these problems. talking about the free HS. Up to today, America is, they say, no child left behind. There are people who will perform better when they get to university. And if you go through the history of great people in this world, about 80% of them took exam more than 5 times before they get where they are. That doesn't mean they are weak. So I support your statement when you told the person you were interviewing that why doesn't he see it that everybody get to SHS and then we elevate from there? Because if you can go to Legon today, most of their best students who has passed out recently tech are those who came as wrote entry exams, not those who passed straight to the university. So I am appealing to everybody to stop politicizing this issue. Look at the curriculum, and parents should counsel their children very well, because parents are the cause of it too. Because there are parents that when their children are holding phone and another person is going to correct them, they say, it's my child and not your child. Everybody's child is everybody's child, to end my story. And we need to learn that and learn from our history. To end it, I'll add this. Remember when there was senior secondary, O-level, A-level, there were world scores that also appeared then. The people are doing research to go to history and they keep calling names and when. Please, let's stop politicizing this and look for curriculum reform and stop that NDC, MPP thing that we are up to.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling and sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate that. This will be my last caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, we've lost the caller. That'll be all for Ghana Speaks this morning. We'll be looking forward to speaking with you the more throughout the week. After this break, it's time for the latest in the world of sports. Stay with us.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
It's time for the latest in the world of sports. James Ohinda Makion joins me. James, I will ask you, and I know you say it was a great sporting weekend. Was it really a great sporting weekend?
Oh yeah, it was a great sporting weekend.
What happened?
A lot of things happened. But in the morning, you did mention that you were following the National Youth Quiz. Why? Because I was reflecting. I'm a former National Youth Champion, 2017.
Really?
So I was looking at that. About three years later, I came to the senior category and I was beating from in the regionals.
For those of you who don't know what James is talking about, very much we attend the same. We attend the same church. We attend the Church of Pentecost, and over the weekend there was a youth quiz and some people emerged victorious. I didn't know that I was sitting with a champion.
2017 National Youth Champion.
Oh, nice.
Junior category. But let's move on to the Ghana Premier League. And over the weekend, some exciting games were played in the Ghana Premier League. If you can have the results on our screen, Accra Folk, after 3 games, were able to win. Finally, they were able to win a game. They beat Vision Football Club by a goal. Then on Sunday, Kumasi Asante Kotoko are still winless. They are drawing 2-2. They drew 2-2 with Mediema Sporting Club. It was the game of the weekend. Sojo Blast drew 0-0 with Young Apostles. Basake Holy Stars beat Nations FC by a goal to nil. BBN Gold Stars beat Ediana Stars surprisingly. While Beating United, they are now in the relegation zone. They got beaten by Oho United. Another surprising results in there. Whilst Brekum Chelsea drew 0-0 with FC Samatex. Then House of Lions, interestingly, also drew with Kerala United Football Club. So that's in the Ghana Premier League.
I'm actually happy for you,
Accra Suffolk. Yeah, because we changed our venue from Accra Sports Stadium to Legon. Then we started winning.
Hey.
Oh, you've changed our venue.
You changed your venue from the traditional.
We don't like that place.
You don't like it again.
Now we like Legon. We like Legon. So we started winning. But Scott also drew. But on the league log, now Mediema are top of the league log. Okay. They've overtaken Indiana Stars, Hearts of Lions. They all have the same points, 24, 24, 24. Hearts of Folk are fourth, Asante Kotoko are fifth on the league log. So we see how the season goes.
Asante Kotoko will do. We don't want a situation where Otunfo will look at a magazine and say, Kotokoi.
And when
they're good anymore, so we hope to get better. We'll do better.
All right, now from the Ghana Premier, let's move on to the English Premier League. A lot of exciting things happened over the weekend.
Okay.